Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our second discussion on strategic hiring and connecting with employment-based programs. I'm Nicole Shepard with the Regina Chamber, and you all would have seen that little pop-up on your screen just to let you know that this meeting is being recorded today. So we have 4 great organizations with us this morning that are going to share more about their employment programs. We have the Gabriel Dumont Institute, Regina Trades and Skills, University of Regina Cooperative Program, and Saskatchewan Polytechnic. So before we jump into their presentations, I would just like to start off by acknowledging the Indigenous peoples of all the lands we're gathered on virtually today. The Regina and District Chamber of Commerce is situated in Treaty 4 territory, which is the traditional territory of the Cree, Saulteaux, Dakota, Lakota, and Nakota. We also acknowledge the traditional homeland of the Métis and honor their contributions. We respect and honor the treaties that were made on all territories and are committed to move forward in partnership with Indigenous nations in the spirit of reconciliation and collaboration. So if you do have any questions for any of the presenters today, feel free to type them in the chat at any time, and we will have some time for questions at the end of each of the presentations, and then we'll come back to some questions after everyone's had a chance to present this morning. So feel free to enter those questions into the chat at any time. So to start us off this morning, I would like to welcome Tricia Hume from Gabriel Dumont Institute. Tricia is an employment counselor with Gabriel Dumont and will be speaking about their programs and what they have to offer. Tricia, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Thanks. Good morning, everybody. I'm Tricia from Gabriel Dumont Institute Training and Employment. What we'll talk about today is just the company as a whole. We do offer a variety of different services. There's different entities of the company. There's under Gabriel Dumont Institute as a whole, there's actually 8 different parts to us. We have training and employment, we have the Technical Institute, the GDC College, the SunTech program, the Northern Teachers Program, what else? The virtual museum, which is really, if you haven't checked it out, I suggest you do so. There's a lot of really interesting stuff on there. And then for what we do here at Training and Employment is we offer funding for Métis individuals to attend any post-secondary training. We also have the Métis Nation University sponsorship that we distribute, which is nice. That's something new that over just the last couple of years that we've been able to help university students as opposed to just post-secondary, the SAS Poly and stuff. We also have an apprenticeship program for any Aboriginal individual that's looking at getting into the trades. We offer different wage subsidies for apprenticeship for summer students. We try and find wage subsidies for people re-entering into the workforce that have maybe been out of job for, at home or have never worked. We try to get them out into the work field there that way. And Dumont Technical Institute offers a variety of different programs depending on which area. In Regina, we offer the LPN program, the Continuing Care Assistant program, Basic Education Level 4 program, and the Office Administration program. And then in the new year, they're going to be doing a scaffolding program and hopefully get people into the scaffolding trade, line them up with employment and stuff. So there's lots of different parts of our company, but my main goal is, or my main job, I guess, is the funding aspect of everything, helping people get into school, doing the career counseling, stuff like that. And that's everything. Any questions?
Thanks, Tricia. So a lot of the funding that you were talking about, is that directly with students then, or is there funding that employers can apply for as well to support their hiring process?
So what we offer for that part is we could do a wage subsidy with any employer out there. So say it's in the trades, then we do the wage subsidy and make sure that the apprentice is getting indentured and all that stuff. And then once we do that, we also help the client pay for their technical training and books if they need tools, if they need boots, that kind of stuff. And then if say a doctor's office was looking for an admin person and we were trying to help somebody find employment to get into the work field that they've maybe been out of work for a while or just finished a program, then we can offer a 26-week wage subsidy to supplement the cost to hire that individual.
Okay.
And then we have the summer subsidy programs, and those are for returning students. So a lot of times we try and link up, somebody that's in a 2-year program, say, with an employer where they're going to get hands-on learning for whatever course they're taking, and then we can subsidize the wage for that as well.
Okay. Great. So a lot of different opportunities then.
Yeah, there's lots
to connect employers with the individuals coming out of the programs then.
Yeah.
That's great. Perfect. All right. I'm not seeing any questions in the chat just yet, but there will still be another opportunity after the rest of the presentation. So we will move on to our next presenter. And I have Melissa up next. So Melissa Dabrowski is the operations manager with Regina Trades and Skills. And Melissa is going to share with us what Regina Trades and Skills has to offer employers. Over to you.
There we go. I'm just going to reshare this screen here in 1 second. Sorry. Perfect. Is that all working now?
Looks good. Yep.
Awesome. Okay, thank you so much for having me here talk about what I feel is the best place in the city. I am with Regina Trades and Skills Center, and just like the front slide there says, is businesses get or find great employees and students get their boot in the door. And that's essentially what we do here, is we service students and employers both the same to kind of address any of the employment demands that are in specific industries. So I'm going to hopefully enlighten you with some information today and go from there. So just in a nutshell, some of the background information. So we are a nonprofit organization, and we're going to be celebrating our 15-year next year. We are funded by the Ministry of Immigration and Career Training, and that's where all of our funding does come between them and Labor Market Services. And what we are is a short-term entry-level skills training facility. We're not an employment center. We are simply a quick skills training center that focuses on the hard and soft skills of a specific industry. So unlike as Polytechnic, where you're going to get a designation or a certification or something out of the deal, ours is a certificate program where they just get a certificate directly from us, but it gives them the skills that they need in order to get their boot in the door. So everything kind of comes back to the goal of employment. And I'm going to explain in the next slide where those demands actually come from and where you guys as employers kind of fit in the mix when I talk about this. So we have 3 primary target market groups. Our adult training is for ages 19 to 30-year-olds. However, we do look past that based on a best fit model that we use for our acceptance into any of our programs. And so the background and the theory behind that is when Trades and Skills was first being established, they were looking at the average age of an apprentice. And back then the average age was 27 years old. So the board of directors and the industry partners that got together basically took a look and said, hey, what's going on in this situation where what's happening to individuals that are graduating high school and then starting that apprenticeship process. And through their research and stuff, they realized that there's a lot of challenges that individuals face. They might have mortgages, they can't afford to go to school, they might have young families, they're already working, they can't take the time off of work. So we wanted to establish something where we could look at the demands of industry and supply the industry with good quality employees to get them really started in those trades. We have evolved much more than just the trades over the last year, or the last few years, of course, being industry led. However, that's where the theory and the background really kind of came from. We also have a TASCAP program, which is a high school program for grades 11 and 12 students. And then our 12 to trades employment program, which is also good for you guys as employers, where we take high school graduates of the current graduating year, and we provide them with all of the safety skills or safety certifications that they require to get into the industry, and give them some appropriate workplace behavior skills and connect them to employment in the industry of their choice right upon completion of graduation. It's a 5-week program, and there are wage subsidies in there where we cover the first 3 weeks, and then they transition onto your payroll for the remainder of the 3 weeks of the program. And again, going back to our goal of employment, the whole intention is they would just stay on your payroll and continue down that pathway. So all of our training is based on industry demand. And that leads me to my next slide, which is how we service and how we come up with where are the demands in industry and how do we supply them with those demands and fill them. So again, how we are very different from any other educational institution out there is we offer a diverse variety of courses that are only offered based on employment opportunity. So we don't actually have a set schedule every year that we're going to offer this class, and this class every single year. We actually look at where are the employment demands, where are employers really struggling, trying to find employees, and then we develop a course based on that. So industry really comes to us, and I'm going to use personal support assistant as an example because there are so many challenges within the healthcare industry right now. And last year we put on 3 PSA classes as an acronym that I like to use. And basically, obviously, the demands are high. Individuals in healthcare are burnt out. There's staffing shortages. People are unfortunately sick and have to take time off. And so employers are really struggling with casual workers to be able to fill those temporary sick leaves, to fill those long-term sick leaves, to cover the burnout. And so we took full advantage of that and put on 3 personal support assistant courses last year and got over 30 employees hired in the process to help with those demands. So not only do we offer the courses based on the demands of industry, we actually strategically schedule our courses so that they complete or they finish at the peak hiring times of industry. So I'm going to switch to the trades here and talk to you about that. So carpentry is a well sought after industry, however, or even concrete. But concrete isn't poured in the winter, and we have those lovely frozen grounds that we have to deal with. So we would not offer a carpentry course right now because they would finish kind of around that December, January mark. And the chances of our students getting hired upon completion of our program would be very slim. So we're offering that course starting in March. It's going to complete in May, and that increases the chances of employment for the student and also addresses the same time frame as where the demands are, where the employers are actually doing their hiring. So when labor market needs change, we change our courses. The city of Regina a few years back put some new measures in place in regards to landscaping in new homes. You have so long before you can have your your yard landscaped or left unlandscaped. So we offered a landscaping course. So we definitely change things on the dime based on the demands that come through. And then what we have to do is demand is given to us by industry. So now we have to supply them with good quality employees to be able to fill those demands. So we are looking solely at entry-level employees and training students with the goal that they obtain employment at the end. So we're providing a 70%, minimum 70%. A lot of our classes are about 90% of practical hands-on training. So they only spend about 20 to 30% doing theory, and the rest of it is the application portion of it. They do it in the shop. They learn the hand tools, the power tools. They learn the soft skills. They learn the hard skills, materials, equipment, definitely the skill set. And then one of the other things that we pride ourselves in is we take our training into the community, and we work with the community to get them doing projects like doing a brand new roofing system for a home in our residential roofing course, going to the food bank and getting our commercial industrial roofers up on the roof, doing a project there, saving costs for the food bank. Even in our childcare educator or our personal support assistant classes, our students actually go to these facilities and spend a day there caring for the children or the elderly or the individuals and planning a day out, making meals and snacks. So everything we do kind of that they're learning in the classroom, they actually take and plan to do that out in the community as well. So they get that hands-on, and for lack of better terms, they don't feel like the students don't necessarily feel so scared or as a virgin going into that new environment that they don't have a clue what it's like, because we all know classroom training and on-site or on the job site training is totally different. So again, that's kind of how we work. So that's where you see that beautiful triangle in the middle where we have the employers come to us with the demands. We train the students to supply them while working within the community to make sure that we all come together. And again, coming back to our goal of employment. So what our training actually looks like for our students while they're here, and with that short term I talked about, it's really anywhere between a 5 to a 10 week long training. The first week is their orientation week, and they get all of their safety certifications that are required to be on a job site. So anything from your fall protection, your first aid, WMIS, going into TLR training for our care workers, aerial work platform with awareness. So they're getting those kind of safety certifications so that when they go on board with the employer, that they are ready to go. The employer doesn't have to invest a week's worth of safety training and putting out that money and not knowing if they're going to be a good fit or not. So we take care of all of that in that first week. And then of course they spend the next weeks of their training with that practical work-based learning. And we get them in the shop, we get them out in the community, we teach them those basic skills. And then at the end of the day, we create those employer connections, which is huge. Our reputation and our relationship with employers is so huge in this model, because without the employers trusting us and trusting the students that we bring forward to you or that we're asking you to take on for employment opportunities, we wouldn't have the amazing center that we have. We then offer a work placement. I like to refer to that as an on-the-job interview. So we provide you a student, or 2 or 3, depends on what your hiring needs are, and we provide you with a student for a 2-week on-the-job interview. We cover wages and WCB for 40 hours a week for 2 weeks while they come and work for you. And that's your opportunity to really see, are they a good fit for us? Are they going to fit in with our culture? Are they going to fit in with the team, with the crew? Do they have a good work ethic, attitude? And most importantly, are they going to show up every day and on time? Are they going to give me a good day's work? The skill, I can teach them the rest, but let's see kind of how they interact with us in the meantime. And of course, with that continuous employment at the end, the intention is at the end of the 2 weeks, is that you don't shake their hand and say, thank you very much, you're going to make a great carpenter or a great education assistant, have a nice day. What you're going to be doing is you're going to just be easily transitioning them onto your payroll. There's no contract to sign in regards to you are forced or committed to keeping that individual on as an employee if they are not a good fit. We just ask that because our goal is employment, that you do not take on a student unless you have an employment opportunity kind of ready to present to them at the end. Just to give you an idea of our numbers over the last 4 years, we have continuously stayed above 94% completion rate, or pardon me, 94% employment rate upon completion of our training programs. So to me, that's pretty fantastic, which means 9 out of 10 of our students are getting hired upon that 2-week work placement. We also track our students when you're out, and I'm very happy to boast that we're sitting at over 85% employment rate for a year out as well. And during a time of pandemic, where employees are very, very sought after right now, it's something that we pride ourselves here in at the center, because our students are maintaining that employment. So the process is very simple for our students, and I'm just going to go through this really quickly because it's more for our students than for you guys. However, it's important to understand that students have to go through a registration process where they apply online, and then they have to attend an info session. During that info session, we give them the good, the bad, the ugly of all of the information of the industry that they are going into. And then for those that show up to that info session, they have the opportunity to sign up for a one-on-one interview. We then screen all applicants to find the best fit employees or students that are going to fit well in this industry. Are they going to show up? Are they going to have a good attitude, work ethic? Do they have the aptitude to be able to grasp the concepts and the skills associated with those trades? Because with their next steps of being apprentices for our trades, for example, electrical is very math heavy. Do they have those math skills to be able to go through the apprenticeship process? Do they have driver's license if that industry requires them to have it? We look at all of that. And then, of course, we provide the training, which then leads to employment. So our students don't actually have like a whole pass or fail system here. We actually grade our students based on their 4 pillars. We hold them to a very high level of accountability, and we want our students to show up every day and on time, because that's one of the biggest things that we hear about from employers is, you know what, they can be the best worker out there, but if they're not showing up every day, then they're no good to us. So our attendance rate usually sits around 98.4% over the course of the year, and we're running 14 to 16 programs a year. So our students can get discontinued if their attendance falls below a certain standard, or if they have late issues, if they're tardy all the time, things like that. So attendance and punctuality is listed first because we weight that the most. Obviously, they need to have a good attitude and work ethic. And we kind of facilitate that throughout the training as well, and do a lot of coaching to make sure that they're handling themselves appropriately, how to deal with situations, how to not stand around and look at your cell phone or stare at the gophers in the field, rather than pick up a broom and start sweeping, or a shovel, or offering to give somebody else a hand. And of course, the last pillar that we focus on is their skill development. And it's, are they able to grasp the skills? We had one student in our plumbing class who was absolutely fantastic, but when it came to any of the book work associated with it, or the problem solving that he had to think through, he really struggled with that. And therefore it from going forward and building his skill even more. So there was a mutual conversation that was given that he just wasn't ready for that particular industry and didn't have the aptitude. So he was no longer in that particular program. We are definitely only going to put individuals out to you guys as employers that we would stand behind and recommend to you, and that that we would endorse. So that's kind of how we roll here. So on my last slide, before we get into any questions, and I'm going through this rather quickly, and I'm sorry, but I could talk for hours about the center. There are so many benefits to you guys. We save you time and money with your entry-level hiring needs. And it just makes sense to give us a call anytime that you are looking for employees. So we actually fill your entry-level hiring needs for you. So right from the process of we accept registrations, we filter through them, we do the interviews, we accept them into the program, we essentially hire them. And then we provide them all the entry-level safety training. And if you're getting a green guy or girl off of the street, you know the added expense and time that is associated with that. Whether it's first aid, CPR, TLR training, you might need to put them through a WMIS, a SPOT, an aerial work platform, and the list was on and on. Fall Pro, confined space, it adds up. That's taking time away from productivity within your workplaces. So we take care of all of that first. Then again, we teach that practical hands-on skill training. So carpentry is my trade. That's what I did back in the day. So I like to talk about that a lot, but we do teach them like how to use the hand tools, the power tools, how to swing a hammer, what the different types of materials are and the size of materials. We teach them basic framing, concrete. We put them on the end of a shovel so that they understand the physicality of the industry that they're going into. So we get them kind of prepared to start out in your industry. And then there's the work-based learning projects that add to that experience. And then of course we do that coaching on the appropriate workplace behaviors. Calling in sick, the art of it that has been lost over the years. You still need to call in sick. This is how you call in sick. This is how you ask your employer for time off. This is how you handle those situations when you're working with somebody who's a little grumpy that day and maybe is just having a bad day, or how to handle if you made a mistake and you screwed up and you may have ticked off your supervisor. How do you handle that without kind of losing your mind or losing your temper? So, and of course, on top of all of those cost savings to you guys as employers, again, we give you that 2-week on-the-job interview so that you can test drive the potential employee yourself. There's, like I said, no contract to sign or anything along those lines. It's just the old school handshake of, yes, I do have an employment opportunity. I am looking to hire, and kind of go from there. So, like I said, I went through this rather quickly. And I'm very passionate about where I work because I've got the background and I understand what it's like to start out and how difficult it is to start out in any industry when you don't have the education or the experience to back you up behind you. So if you have any questions, I am more than happy to answer them for you. And of course, you can reach out to us online at rtsc.org at any time. Over and above this, and I look after all of the Facebook and social media, so you can reach out to us there as well. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Melissa. That was a really great overview of all the great things that your center does. You talked a lot about, how you're very responsive to industry demand, which I think is great to be able to, kind of adapt quickly. And you did mention, some of the increase in needs in kind of the healthcare industry because of the pandemic. I'm just curious kind of what you're seeing, if you're seeing other industries with kind of increased needs over the last little while and kind of how that's impacted things.
Yeah, absolutely. Our childcare industry with our childcare educators, our education assistant in the school setting, based on budget, of course, if the school divisions can afford to increase the amount of education assistance that they can have available. Also, in all of our trades, it's actually really wild how our trade industries are all screaming for people, and they cannot get employees to apply for their positions that they have available. And we're seeing the same thing, whether it's the CRB benefit or whether it's the fear of COVID or for whatever reason, there's a lot less people out there that are taking that leap to apply for new opportunities, apply for education, apply for training. And they're seeing that there as well. I just filled a plumbing class and I had 34 employment opportunities for my 9 students. And same thing with PSA, I just filled that yesterday. And it was just discouraging because I only had 11 students, but again, I had 34 employment opportunities. And it's just, the demands are so high, whether it's a trade related industry or a service related industry. people are struggling for good quality employees right now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a crazy market out there. So with some of those, like the trades, like you mentioned, plumbing, you had 9 students. There's obviously an opportunity if those individuals want to kind of further their education and go into an apprenticeship program. Do you provide that kind of link to some of those other programs for them or the employers?
Yeah, 100%. Actually, with our childcare educators courses, we actually partner with SAS Poly, and they do an online ECE level 1 class, or pardon me, the ECE. Now it used to be role of play, and I don't know the updated term for it. I think it's development of play or something along those lines. But we enroll them in that class so that they can continue their education to get their ECE level 1. With apprenticeship, we partner with SATCC, SAS Apprenticeship Trade Certification Commission, so that our students earn apprenticeable hours so that they go forward. And there are new out there right now that in the core trades that they have to be indentured immediately or registered with the Apprenticeship Commission. So we encourage our students to do that progression of education going forward. And it's awesome that our students come back 4 or 5 years later with their journey person, and it's pretty amazing. So we definitely are a starting point with that entry level skills training, but we rely on our partner employers to be able to give them the actual certifications and designations that they are looking to achieve. Kind of just open the door to get you started.
Oh, that's great. That's great. So you mentioned a 94% employment rate, which is incredible. That's really great. Are you finding, these are entry-level positions? Are a lot of individuals being hired into more kind of term type positions, or is it permanent full-time?
That's a tough one, because in trades, nothing is ever permanent, right? It's very cyclical and it's based on the job. So a lot of our students stay employed, and obviously with an 85% employment rate a year out, our students are still working. We also provide a service to employers and students where if an employer is looking for a carpenter right now, they can contact me up and we stay connected with our previous students so that if somebody is laid off, we can connect them back to employment. And so we maintain that relationship with our partner employers throughout the year, and of course with all of our previous students. So they are, like, when you go into our child care educator and our personal support, our education assistant, a lot of them are starting off in either casual part-time or full-time positions. And again, it all depends on what the need of the business is.
Great. All right, well, seeing no other questions right now, thank you so much, Melissa, for sharing.
Awesome. Thank you.
And next up, we have Sandy Pipko. Sandy is the Indigenous Career Advisor from the University of Regina, and she's going to tell us more about the co-op program at the U of R. Sandy, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm just going to get my screen up here. Share screen. Where is it? Oops, sorry. Sorry, I'm just trying to get it here. I have it on 2 screens here. Share screen. All right. I think I have to reopen it. Give me another second here.
No problem.
I'm often working on a single screen, so this is getting weird. Share screen. There we go. Share. Is it up?
You got, looks good.
Okay. So, all right, so sorry. got everything organized here. So yeah, I work at the University of Regina, the Advising and Career Education Office. We were normally used to be called just the co-op office, but we did merge with another unit, the advising unit. So we're kind of both. I work as an Indigenous career advisor, working specifically with Indigenous students. But however, I do work in support of the co-op program. So I know a little bit about that. So we'll just go through the slides here. Of course, they're not moving. There we go. So for those who don't know, the Cooperative Education Program is a plan. Education is a plan of higher education that incorporates productive work experience as regular and integral part of the student's learning process. So pretty much students attend school and then another semester they work and they just kind of switch in between. It does vary between departments. Some will have, you take 3, students can work up to 3 work terms, some can work 4, some can work 5. It kind of depends on the faculty, and students do have the option to take however amount they want, I suppose. And it does work on the semester system. So one work term would be from September to December, that's a 4-month, and then January to May, May to August, and so on. So it's always like a 4-month, and whether they do a double, that would extend to 8 months and then to 12 months. We do work as a strong partnership. So it's the student, the university, and the employer. And we actually do a lot of facilitation with the employers. A student just doesn't go off on a work term and we never hear from them again. We do job site visits. We check in with both the student and the employer. There's an evaluation at the end. So there's just a lot of connections. So they get a lot of support, the students and the employers. We actually just celebrated our 50th anniversary, which is crazy, but yeah, we celebrated that in 2019. It's kind of funny because sometimes I'll go out to an employer and meet with them and the student, and we find out the manager also used to be a co-op student. So it's been a long time and lots of experiences running this program, that's for sure. And we established, in 1969, and it was the first one established in Western Canada. And right now we have co-op programs in the following areas. We have arts, business administration, engineering, science, including computer science, chemistry, biochemistry, math, stats, and actuarial sciences. We get lots of questions about why we don't have co-op programs in areas such as social work, education. They have their own kind of internships kind of built into those programs. So that's why co-op doesn't really work for those programs, but lots in arts, lots in business, engineering, and science. So why hire a co-op student? Like anything, sometimes it's difficult to get positions approved for funding purposes and stuff like that. So we can be there to help with short-term hiring needs. The programs, the positions are normally about 4 months. So you can hire a student for 4 months, and that can be to help with, any projects or tasks that you need completed. We get lots of feedback from students or from employers, because our students, they're like a new set of eyes, right? So they have lots of new ideas. They have the most innovative training and education behind them. So they do offer a lot to the employers. And it gives the employers a chance to screen new talent. It's like you test them out for 4 months. If they're doing good, you bring them back for another term. And then hopefully when they're done a degree, that's something you can bring them back for a more permanent position. Like I said, the students are available for 4, 8, 12, or I guess even 16th month terms we have too. So, and it's available all year round. So semester system, so fall, winter, and summer. We do work kind of about 4 months in advance. So right now, in December, right away, we'll start applications for the summer semester. So students will start applying for co-op now, and employers will start posting as early as, I think it's the second week of January, to hire for the summer term. We do actually will continue hiring right up until probably May. So although we do like to have everyone kind of hired in January, if a position comes available and we have students available, we can definitely make that connection. Another thing is we have the students ready to go. Like, they have applied for the co-op in advance. They've met all our prerequisites. There is quite a few. They have to have a certain GPA. They have to have a certain number of credit hours and certain courses completed before they're eligible for co-op. So if they don't meet them, then they can't participate. So, and it varies. It's kind of hard for me to go over all of them because arts differs from engineering. Engineering differs from science. So, but normally they have to have at least 67, 70, low 70s as a minimum for most of them. And they're not going to be first semester students. They're normally going to have at least 45 credits completed before they can participate in co-op. And we also get them ready in terms of, we do entrance meetings with the students. They have to attend resume workshops. They have to attend interview skill workshops. So they're all kind of ready to go once they start submitting applications for employment. Students do want to participate in co-op. I don't think we never have really a shortage of students that want to participate. It's a really good reputation, so they know that they're going to get a good chance of getting a job out of this. So they want to be able to, build some connections with employers, get their foot in the door. They want to explore different career options. Sometimes students will be majoring in a certain field, but they don't know what it's going to be like exactly. So until they work a co-op job, it's going to really help them define what stream they want to go into. They gain valuable experience, of course, and they get to apply some of the stuff they're learning in the classroom and in their textbooks. They get to apply it to real life situations. So it's helpful kind of, sometimes if you're not working in the field, you don't really get everything. So it's helpful because they're doing classes online and in person. And then if they're doing some on the job stuff, it just makes that learning process a little bit easier. And then of course they get to earn money. The positions are all paid positions. We do expect employers to be paying like competitive wages for the roles that they're doing. So they are paid. So yeah, students like to earn money. And it's pretty easy to hire students. I don't think it's much different than a company just posting for a short-term position. And we actually can make it a lot easier as well. We can post the jobs for the companies. We can collect the resumes. We can send them off to the employers directly. We even help schedule the interviews. And prior to COVID, we were doing the interviews right in person too, like right on campus. So we have interview rooms available. So we help facilitate that. Just anything the employer needs to get the student hired quick and easy. Some of our placements, we exceed our expectations every year. We're pretty competitive over here with our co-op coordinators. We want to get as many placements as possible. So we're constantly recruiting new students, connecting with more employers. So each year we seem to exceed, this is 2020 numbers. Let's see, total placement 759. We have it broken into the different areas. Definitely engineering and science are really big ones for us. Arts, not as great. Business is still pretty good. And I work specifically with Indigenous students. So we have few, not a lot, but a few Indigenous students participating in co-op at this time. And then our international co-op students, we had 241 in 2020. I think our stats for 2021 are very similar. I think we're about 764 placements this year. We also have graduates participating in co-op as well. So those are some more stats around that. So a total of 130 in 2020. Where students are going. They're going everywhere. They're getting jobs in the private sector, crown sector, provincial government, federal government, educational institutions, municipal governments, and nonprofit. It's a little bit, this is our final slide. So pretty much how our office works is we're broken into different areas. We have student support. So student support would be just workshops that we do constantly. We do resume workshops, we do job searching workshops, that kind of thing. We have lots of things going on like in career fairs, information sessions for employers. An employer wants to promote their company, we will set up right now it's all through Zoom, pretty much all virtual, as well as our career fairs, but we're usually do a lot in person, but right now it's all virtual. I work specifically, like I said, with Indigenous students, so kind of a bit of everything, but primarily with Indigenous students. And then we have co-op coordinators that work with the different faculties. So we have one for arts, one for business, one for engineering, and for the sciences. So those facilitators are all pretty busy connecting with students and employers. So that's kind of our office in a nutshell, kind of quick and furious here, but does anyone have any questions?
Thanks so much, Sandy.
No problem.
So you mentioned the kind of new, so it was referred to as the co-op program. It's now advising in career education. I'm familiar with the co-op program and have dealt with that previously. I'm just wondering with the new office, is there a change in the programs and services, or was it just kind of an amalgamation?
Yeah, it does. The advising part is just a whole other area altogether. It's advising is not part of the educational part. We're almost like sharing an office. So that's kind of why the name changed. We kind of had to figure out a name that incorporate both. But yeah, we're sharing an office with advisors. So when students are registering for certain classes, they meet with an academic advisor. So, but our program is exactly the same, just name change.
Gotcha. That's great. Well, it's a great program that's been around for a long time.
It's been around for a long time.
It's good to hear. So you mentioned that, the placement numbers themselves are likely pretty similar over the last couple of years. I'm just wondering in terms of kind of sectors, if, as a result of the pandemic and things that have kind of happened, if you've seen a shift in kind of the demand from different sectors for students.
Different sectors demand. I think computer science is actually just growing like crazy. One of our partners is eHealth, so lots of demand in that area for sure. And then yeah, anything in health for sure, that makes a lot of sense. But strangely enough, we thought our program was going to be a disaster because there'd be no companies able to hire, but we still did really good in terms of placements. Like staff were working from home while our students were working from home. So it still did really, really good, amazingly enough. So yeah, but definitely, yeah, the sciences and health definitely because of the pandemic, unfortunately, but
yeah, no, that makes sense. And good that, that the program was able to adapt with students being able to, work virtually and everything as well, and still have those opportunities for those co-op placements that are so valuable to their education. So
yeah, no, it was really good. We were kind of worried, and there were a few delays, like especially when the pandemic first hit. The companies didn't know, like how are we adjusting with this? They didn't know what was going to be happening with their own staff, so it did kind of affect some start dates, and a few positions were kind of put on hold. But overall, it turned out really good.
Yeah, good. That's great. Well, thank you so much, Sandy.
Okay, you're welcome.
Last but certainly not least, we have Ian Morrison, the head of cooperative education with Saskatchewan Polytechnic. Welcome, Ian. I'm going to turn it over to you to share a bit more about your program.
Okay, thank you very much. So I am, before I start, I'll just preempt with an apology. So we're still working from home for the next month or so here. So I have a very large Mastiff dog that is eagerly awaiting a home invasion, and that never seems to come. So should the mail delivery person or my wife decide to come home for lunch, there could be some drama here, so bear with me if that does happen. Also, I'll just introduce my colleague, Bernie McCullough. So you'll notice Bernie also has the purple background, the same as I do, and she's on your screen there. Bernie's just gonna jump in. Maybe say hi just so you can get your
Hi everybody, good to see you. Thanks for joining us.
get you front and center on everybody's screen. Yeah, so if you just want to reach out to us at any time, our email addresses are very simple. It's just firstname.lastname@saskpolytech.ca. So that should work for either of us, but not Bernie apparently.
I will put it in the chat, actually. I'll put.
Great, thank you, Bernie. Okay, and yeah, so Bernie will be jumping in here. Now I'm just going to go through a lot of the nature of our programs and how we're kind of set up are similar to the University of Regina. I, in fact, worked at the U of R Co-op office a number of years ago, and the structure is very similar. One difference, though, is just that our programs are quite specialized. And so we have smaller class sizes and smaller numbers. So we place about half the number of students that Sandy was showing there earlier. So more frequently we'll have one student and one employer, and so we don't have too many employers that are taking large numbers of students. So, but that probably speaks to the specialization. Also, I will mention that probably just go to the next screen. You already did do the land acknowledgement, but we like to acknowledge too that Saskatchewan Polytechnic has 4 campuses, 2 in the south in Regina and Moose Jaw, and 2 in the north in Prince Albert and Saskatoon, and those campuses are situated on Treaty 4 and Treaty 6 territories and the homelands of the Métis people. Also, with respect to our other programs at Sask Polytech, if you do have questions about any of our trades or those programs, only a certain number are participating in the co-op program, but by all means send us an email and we can connect you with the right person. So any of the trades programs, any of our programs that are in the northern 2 campuses, so our co-op department is strictly in the southern 2 campuses, Regina and Moose Jaw. So if you do have any questions about any other programs, just feel free to ask, and we'll find out the answer if we don't know already. So our program works really similar in terms of that the students are alternating between work terms and academic terms. Kind of on the employer side, though, some of the ways that employers are using our program in terms of, like, especially with the summer coming up, for short-term staffing needs, if you have people taking holidays, or maybe you have a special project you're working on and you don't necessarily want to take someone on permanently. Co-op is a great way of filling that need. A lot of our employers are using co-op for succession planning. So if you want to use it as an extended job interview, that's a great way to do it without the permanent commitment. It's also a great way to give back to your industry and your community. Participating in co-op or student hiring of any sort gives back to your community and your industry, but it also it really helps the students and prepares the next generation of workers. So we are presently accepting postings for the summer of 2022. Just like Sandy mentioned with U of R, each of our programs has sort of a different time pattern that they're on, but most of our programs do run in the summer. So if you're interested in bringing someone on for the summer, please feel free to do so. We do have a few students still available for January as well. So if you have any any needs for January, please feel free to let us know. Now, a few years ago, Saskatchewan Polytechnic changed their name, as you'll recall, from SciAS to Saskatchewan Polytechnic. And a lot of times we get asked the question, well, what is a polytechnic? What does that mean? What is that all about? So, largely, it was very similar to the way it was before, but we also now do have degree granting status is one different, and we're a part of Polytechnics Canada, which is 11 institutions across Canada. So you may have also heard of SAIT and NAIT, Red River College, or BCIT. Those are some also other examples of polytechnics. So we are sort of I would say the creme de la creme of community colleges and technical vocational training in Canada, and it's a standardized. All of our programs are standardized and accredited across the nation. So our students do get a very practical hands-on training. So we don't really have electives. Our students generally who come to us come looking for programs that are going to lead to a job in a relatively short period of time. So a lot of our students are very job and career focused, really strong work ethic. We get a lot of students from rural Saskatchewan. A lot of times our employers will say, can you send us the farm kids? And because of the work ethic that they bring and the background that they have, and we do certainly have those students. And a lot of our students also are mature students. We get a lot of folks who have maybe already worked for a bit, and now they kind of want to shift gears a little bit and do a bit of a career shift. So all of our programs are kind of designed beyond being very practical and hands-on. We don't really have electives. Most of what you learn in a SAS Polytech program is designed to mimic the job experience. So our schedules go from early in the morning to late in the afternoon, as a job would, and so the students are very familiar with that. And a lot of the programs all the programs we have, a lot of the training is the tools, the processes that you'd be using in your workplace. So it's very focused, it's very hands-on. And another thing that's kind of interesting is so we don't really have electives. So when you come into a program, you're with the same cohort of people right through your entire program. So that's also quite similar to working in a traditional workplace, because the students they have to get on with each other, they have to do group projects and stuff like that. But it's the same people every day. So that's kind of a unique side to it. So definitely our students come ready to work and with some definitive practical skills. And one of the things employers always say to us is about that that our students they can contribute on day one. So it's a pretty quick learning curve. So I'm just going to go through some of the programs that are participating in the co-op program. So as I mentioned before too, if you have questions about some of the trades or our healthcare programs or some of the other programs on different campuses, we may not readily have the answer available for us, but go ahead and throw it in the chat or send us an email, and we'll find the answer for you or connect you with the right people. So on the left side of the left column there, so we have our architectural technologies. That is what it sounds like, working in architecture firms, that kind of work. Computer engineering technology is kind of a combination of hardware and software. So the students coming out are able to do programming and all that kind of stuff, but they can also do, like, they know about circuits, they know about various hardware. I do not, so my ability to explain it is somewhat limited, but they're generalists in a sense when it comes to computer and hardware, or computer software and hardware. Our engineering, design, and drafting technology. This is has a lot of the old CAD program that you may be familiar with. So our students can do drafting and the drawings. Business information systems is largely it's a lot of work with software that's geared towards business practices, so databases and that sort of stuff. A lot of like data analysis and that kind of work. So very much business driven systems. Our electrical engineering technologists mostly end up in electrical services firms or public utilities, mining companies, that sort of thing. So wherever they're kind of the bridge between and a lot of our engineering technologists are the bridge between the engineers and the tradespeople. So they can kind of work on both sides. And the nice thing about it, I've worked a lot with our electrical engineering technologists in the past. A lot of the companies will say that they're really great because we can have them work with our engineers or with our electricians, like whichever it is. And that's kind of true with a lot of our programs. Environmental engineering technology, our students are out in the field working with like again with some of our utilities, with exploration companies, anybody who's doing work that's environmentally sensitive. Our students have skills that can help out with that. We have a wide range of business specialties, and I would add to that list, insurance is just coming on for next year. So we have that as well. So accountancy, HR, management, and marketing, those are more traditional ones. And our business programs, we do have an articulation agreement with the University of Regina and I believe as well with the University of Saskatchewan. So it's very similar to year 2 and year 3 of those programs. Bernie works herself with our business programs. Would you add anything to that, Bernie?
Just that the timeline for these programs kind of varies from the other 4-month alternating programs. Human resources, management, marketing, and soon to be insurance, for example. Those students actually go out in January for a year-long work term. So that's one thing that differs from the other programs a little bit is the work term timeline.
Well, we do have our accountancy students ready for the summer, though, right?
That's correct. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of those students can do other administrative tasks as well. So it doesn't necessarily have to be specifically an accountancy position per se. A lot of the students in our business, that's our first work term. So they're looking to get into, they do have great skills, but they're also looking to get like an administrative experience. So that works there. Our civil engineering technology sort of has 2 streams. So it's the civil and construction side on one side, and then water resources technology on the other. So a lot of our students are on construction sites and helping with and again, this is our students are quite they can act sort of as sort of the go-between with your engineers and your tradespeople, and they have very practical skills in that regard. Instrumentation, engineering technology, our students, as it sounds like, work with monitoring instruments and that kind of thing. And just new for this year, we have now our Bachelor of Construction Management program. This is something we're really excited about. It's running out of our Regina campus. And this is a bridging program for tradespeople, technologists, a lot of folks who have gone through our other technology programs that you see listed there. And it's heavily into project management and basic construction management. And so this is, as I say, it's a bridging program from diploma or from journey trade to degree. So this is really popular right now with a lot of folks who are in those industries who want to upgrade to a bachelor's degree. So that's the case there, and we will be having a summer placement in that program. So it's something we're really excited about. That is largely it for us. As I say, a lot of the programs like a lot of the structure of our programs kind of similar to the University of Regina in that we do alternate between work terms and academic terms, but as Bernie mentioned, different time patterns depending on the program. Bernie, go ahead and if you have anything to add.
No, not too much. Again, yeah, thank you, Sandy, for explaining cooperative education so well, because yeah, it is very similar to how we operate. We do our placement process in the academic semester preceding the work term. So as Ian said, yeah, we're already thinking about summer. So yeah, but I don't think I have too much else to add.
Thanks, Bernie.
Great. Thanks, both Ian and Bernadette. Appreciate that overview of the programs. I have the same question for you that I asked Sandy, just in terms of, how the pandemic has impacted your program and your placements. A lot of your students do a lot more hands-on work that can't be done virtually. So I'm just curious what the impact has been on your program and your placements over the last little while.
Go ahead, Bernie.
I would say it was very similar. We did have, in the beginning with all the uncertainty when, the world went sideways, we had some start dates delayed, that sort of thing. And we did see like our technology programs, I do think that they rebounded a bit quicker. The students that were out working in the field, we did see those placements, that sort of thing, come back stronger before more of the office type settings. Just again, it's kind of, it was difficult or a new challenge to onboard people, working remotely, that sort of thing. So yeah.
Great. And what about in terms of different industries? Are you seeing kind of a shift? Obviously, that you mentioned the technical industry is seeing a bit more demand there, but given kind of, the uncertainty still kind of longer term as employers are trying to adapt, are you seeing different industries trying to fill some of those short-term staffing needs in kind of different industries than what you've seen in the past?
I've been lately talking a lot with a lot of companies that are involved in construction industries or mining or those kind of things. And here in Saskatchewan, we do have, and I'm not sure if it's directly related to COVID or not, but we do have, like, things are picking up again. And so a lot of companies are starting to, I just had a conversation with an electrical service firm and last week, and they were saying that they've never been busier than they are right now, and they have all these projects and contracts coming up, and I think in those industries and a lot of what we do here in Saskatchewan, business. From what I'm hearing, it's really picking up, and so we kind of have a sort of a saying in our department that. It always starts with our architecture program and our construction-based programs, and then all of whatever happens there, all of the other programs will follow eventually, because those are sort of bellwethers for the economy. And we are definitely seeing, particularly our civil engineering technology, our architectural engineering technology. The last year they have been very, very busy. We've run out of students, so. It's like a train and they're the engine. And so we're kind of seeing the other ones are starting to pick up behind it. So absolutely. Bernie, go ahead and add anything you'd like to that.
No, I think you covered it.
Great. All right. Well, if anyone has any questions for any of our presenters, please feel free to enter them in the chat or even just raise your hand. And we've got a bit of time left for some additional questions. I think that, most of you touched on it in your presentations, but I might just go back to kind of the ongoing support that's provided to employers through each of the programs, because I know that I know you all do a really great job of that, but it looks a little bit different for each of the programs. So I might just ask you each to kind of speak a little bit to kind of that ongoing support that is offered, if I'm an employer and I'm looking for a student through one of your programs. Melissa, let's maybe start with you. I'll let you speak to it first, if you don't mind.
So I think the biggest thing for ongoing support is knowing that we are a resource for your entry-level hiring needs. So if you're looking at posting a position, no matter what industry it is in, you have the freedom to give us a call and just say, hey, do you have any potential employees in this industry, whether it's a course that we have offered in the past or we're offering now, or maybe we just don't even have that course. Just to be able to call us and have a resource to look for another option. It kind of saves you the time and of course the money in posting the position, filtering through the resumes, and then going through the entire interview process. So we're straight shooters over here. Any one of us of the staff members at Trades and Skills will tell you how it is. And again, we will only endorse students that we feel we will put our name behind. Our reputation is so important. So whether we have courses going on or not, you are welcome to contact us. and see if we have any potential employees available, because we do reach out to all of our previous students. And if anyone is laid off, or maybe they took a carpentry course and it isn't their thing, they're looking to expand into another area, we do have those opportunities available. So
Great, thanks, Melissa. Sandy, do you want to speak to that a little bit from the U of R?
Sure. Like, although we have like lots of like deadlines, just because we do hire 4 months beforehand, if a student is still looking for a job, we have support, and employer can just simply call one of the coordinators and say, we want 4 computer science students, so we can quickly see who's still available and then just send them off resumes really quickly. So we still do a lot of informal, contacting students saying, are you interested in working for this company, and then finding those resumes and sending them off to the employers. And then our ongoing support is like our job site visit process. Like, prior to COVID, we come every semester. We come out about halfway point. So students have only worked for about 2 months, and we are on site meeting with them, asking what they're working on, how it's going. We meet with the managers and ask them how it's going, and if there's anything that needs to be resolved or more support, we're there to like meet with the employer and the students just to get things, established, because we want it to be a really beneficial program for both the student and the employer. So that's kind of how we're able to keep so many students and employers happy, is I think our visit process. We've been doing them virtually and over the phone for the last year or so, but we'll get back to the site visits soon, I hope.
Absolutely. Thanks, Sandy. Trisha, did you want to speak a little bit from Gabriel Demont's perspective on kind of that ongoing support piece?
Sure. So if we have an employer that's looking for somebody, they would, sometimes they contact us, sometimes we go out. And again, with COVID, we haven't really done as much in the last year and a half, going out and meeting with people, just because of the world. But we have had, a few contact us. And then what we do from our side of things is, once somebody contacts us for a job, whether it's in the trades or an office or whatever it is, we can go and do all the screening for them, kind of pre-interview them, help with the resumes, and then narrow it down to, the top whatever, and then send that off to the employer, and they essentially make the final decision. But we can help narrow it down. Some companies too, we have some startup companies that come to us in the trades and stuff. We just had one not long ago. And what we can do is we can post job ads on their behalf in with SAS Jobs or anything like that. We offer that as well.
That's great. And Ian and Bernadette, did you want to speak to that a bit?
Sure, I'll speak to that. We've got a really great team, and we actually have a co-op coordinator designated for each of the programs that Ian went through. So the respective coordinator will work with you to figure out which program or programs are the best fit for your industry, your company, your opportunity. We help you all the way through the process. Job posting, interviews, we do the worksite visits, very much to the University of Regina program, where we come out at the halfway point and meet with you. And of course, we're always available for any questions. And like I said, we're very happy to assist in any way that we can in helping to find those students that will work very well for you.
That's great. I know there's a lot of value in that. The hiring process it can be very time consuming and take a lot of time and energy for employers. We have a lot of members who are smaller businesses that don't have dedicated HR people. So having those supports and and programs that will help connect you with resources is very valuable. So if I am an employer considering hiring a student through one of your programs, where should I start? What do I need to do or think about before I reach out to your programs? Ian and Bernie, let's maybe start with you on this one.
Want me to take it in or? Well, just all we need is just get in touch. Like I said, we'd like to learn more about your company, your particular employment needs, your seasons, your peak seasons, your needs, that sort of thing. If you have projects on the go that might align with our students and their skill sets, we'll just have a conversation with you. And then we also have, I put in the chat a link to our co-op page, and on there is a job information form. So you can simply fill out that form and submit it, and then the respective coordinator will receive that information, follow up with you, work to get that job posted. We'll provide you with detailed information about our placement process timeline. So when we can accommodate interviews for you with our students, and then yeah, just kind of again assist you right from identifying the need and then finding the program and the timeline and the appropriate work term.
Great. Sandy, we'll go to you next, please.
It's pretty much the same. Contact our office. You know, we do have a job posting board that they can simply post a job, but you know, you can also connect us by the phone, via phone with the coordinator, and just give us a quick rundown of what kind of duties the job's going to be, and then we can explain the process. So it doesn't have to be a full job posting or anything. We have huge ones, but we also just have maybe 4 or 5 sentences describing what the job's going to look like. So then we can kind of match that job to the type of student.
Great, thanks, Sandy. Tricia, same question to you.
It's the same type of process. Know your employment needs, maybe a brief job description. If you're wanting us to post the job for you, we have people at our head office that write up the job ads and then submit them on behalf of the employer. So, and yeah, just contact the office nearest you, and one of the counselors at one of our offices will gladly assist and do everything they can to link you up with the proper or the right, I guess, potential employee.
Great. And Melissa, I'll give you a chance to speak to this one as well.
Yeah, it's pretty similar. You can phone us, email us, reach out to us online, Facebook, any of our social media channels. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. But most importantly is on our website, rtsc.org. It's kind of our hub of information. And there's an employer link with a membership application. There's no cost, but become a partner employer, because then you're kept in the loop. And if you're in the construction industry, we will keep you in the loop as to what courses are going on. And we don't bombard you too much with information, just about 3 emails during the course, and that's about it, just to provide you with that insight and knowledge so that you can take advantage of hiring one of our graduates.
That's great. So it sounds like it's easy for any of the programs. It's been made very simple for employers to just reach out and walk them through the process. They don't need to know exactly, even exactly what they're looking for, what they need. You'll walk them through it and make it as easy and painless as possible, which is great. All right, quiet group today. I'm not seeing anything in the chat, so you've all done a great job of answering everyone's questions throughout your presentation, so thank you for that. So thank you to all of our presenters. Thanks, Tricia from Gabriel Demont, Sandy from the U of R, Melissa from Regina Trades and Skills, and Ian and Bernie from Saskatchewan Polytechnic for sharing information on all of your programs this afternoon. I think they're all really great programs to help support our labor force right now and support our students and our future workforce as well. So a lot of really great opportunities with all of your programs. And thank you to SAS Jobs for supporting our event today, and to everyone for attending. So we do have one more event scheduled next week on Tuesday, December 7th at 11:30, where we're going to be speaking with a number of workforce development agencies on the benefits of hiring a more diverse workforce. So we hope to see you all there. And in the meantime, stay safe and have a great rest of your day. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks so much.